Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing the Winter Essentials book tag. This is a super impromptu last minute decision to film this. I have been running around my room looking for the books that I want to talk about. I feel like I could be cheating because a lot of these questions I have multiple books for them. I also left a lot of books back home in Georgia, and so I'm basically only choosing from the books I physically have here with me. So that's a little disclaimer. So if this is all over the place, forgive me. I'm gonna do my best. I just scribbled the questions down, but I was tagged by the Writing Songbird, I think is her channel. I'll link her down below, so thank you so much for tagging me. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, the first question. Number 1, crackling fireplace or crackling fire. Who is your favorite cold character that warmed up towards the end of the book? Now I have 3 books that as I was looking around, that I just kind of thought of. So the first one is The Scarlet Pimpernel, Sir Percy Blakeney. I'm not even sure if that's how you say his name. I think that's his name, but he appears very cold in the beginning, and by the end you see that it is not. I absolutely love this book. I don't talk about it a lot because I read it before I started BookTube, I think, or maybe I didn't. Oh yeah, I did. And so highly recommend this book. It is, well, I don't even know how to explain it because I haven't read it in a while, and it's just full of mystery, and you're trying to figure out who is the Scarlet Pimpernel. So love this book so much. And then the second one I have is Marilla in Anne of Green Gables. She's kind of, I don't know if she's cold, but she kind of is. She just has a harder side to her that in the books you see that Anne softens that hard spot, and I love Marilla so much. And so yeah, that is my second answer. And my third answer, I'm not going to talk a lot about this because I read this month, and I'll talk about it in my wrap up, but I would say Izzy in this book. I don't know if I would call her cold, but if you read the book you kind of understand why I chose this. She was not a Christian, and just read the series. New Point 911, this is the 4th book, I think, so highly recommend the series as well. Question number 2 was Snowflakes, a book with unique characters. And I had a hard time with this one because not a lot of my books, I don't know if they would necessarily call them unique. I would say they're more interesting. But 2 books that I thought I would talk about with, I think, some interesting and unique characters. The Story Girl by Ella Montgomery. I love the characters in this. The children are just, Ella Montgomery writes her children characters in a way that I just absolutely love. So Sarah Stanley, I think is her name, and then I don't remember all the other names of the kids, but I just love them. And also some of the adults in here are very unique and interesting as well. So yes, highly recommend this book. And then one I haven't talked about probably since January. Did I even talk about this? Did I do wrap up in it? I think I did. But My Dearest Dietrich by Amanda Barrett. Love this book. Sobbed at the end. And I wasn't necessarily thinking that this is unique characters as much as just a unique story and unique relationship. It is a novel of Dietrich Bonhoeffer's Lost Love, and so it's based on true events with fiction added in to make the story. Love this book so much. Number 3, Gingerbread Family. What fictional family would I want to be a part of? And I think I also have 3 books for this question as well. First of all, and I feel like this would be a lot of people's answers, maybe not their first answer, but the March family and Little Women. The relationships in here, this family relationship is just such a good one, and I love it. The growth, and it also shows like real sides of families that a lot of times, sometimes in books you'll see the good side of family. This shows the bad, the good, the bad, the ugly, but I love their family. And the next family would be the Davidson family in Dream of Freedom. Actually, the whole American Dream series. I love this family. I think, was it 2 sons, a daughter, and then the parents. And they go through some hard things, and the character development and growth in this series, it spans a few years, but I just love it, and I want to be a part of their family. Their family was by no means perfect. They had many hard things to go through, but it made them better in the end, and I would recommend this series to anyone. So, love this. And then also, I can't talk about families, fictional families, without talking about the Winslow family. I mean, if you know, you know. This is the House of Winslow series, and I've talked about it a lot. I've read 5 to 6 books in the series, and I just love them. Gilbert Morris writes historical fiction in a way that's refreshing. It's much deeper than a lot of historical fiction, and one of my favorite parts, which I'll talk about this probably later in this video and also in my December wrap-up, is I love how he takes the fictional parts of the story and adds the true elements, and you see famous people in these books, and it just brings their story to life, and I love this series, so I would want to be a part of the Winslow family. Yeah. Number 4 is Blizzard, a book that had you confused the whole time. Well, can I even use this book because I didn't even finish it? But it was The Sisters of Auschwitz. Auschwitz. I never know how to pronounce it. I need to look it up, and I just never do. I DNF'd this book because I could not keep up with the story, and it's a true story. And I was just, I think it was the writing style, maybe the time in my life. I really don't know, but DNF'd it. Who knows? I may continue. I left my bookmark, so we'll see. Maybe I was just not in a good place to read this, but this had me confused for sure. And I only had 1 book for that question, so that's good. Number 5 is Gift Giving, the last book gifted to you. So I chose 2 of them just because I wanted to talk about them. So the very last one would have been Then Comes the Rain by Janice Good. I've never heard of this book before. My grandma got it for me right before we moved. She gave it the morning we left. So this is special, and I hope to read it. And this is the type of book that I used to read at my grandma's house. A lot of true stories and such. So I feel like this is gonna be very nostalgic. I've never read this one, but yeah, I'm excited. And then one I've had on my Amazon list for a while, and I'm really excited about. One of my friends in my youth group got it for my birthday. The Read Aloud Family by Sarah Mackenzie. I put this on there a long time ago, but I think the title is kind of self-explanatory. Oh, making meaningful and lasting connections with your kids. I'm assuming by reading aloud. So that's definitely something I want to do with my kids one day. So really excited, and I really love this cover. I think it's pretty. Number 6, Snowball, the biggest book you ever read. Now, I went off of my Goodreads. So I'm pretty sure this is the biggest I've ever read. If not, I'm sorry, but that would have to be book 3 in the American Dreams series, Dream of Love. I tabbed this one. This is one of the first books I ever tabbed. I love this book so much. Last book in the series, and it's how many pages? 658 pages, so it's thick, but I loved it and will recommend this to forever. The next question is number 7, wrapping paper. Your most beat up book. I don't have a ton of really beat up books, and I feel like my most beat up books I would have left in Georgia. So most of my books here are in pretty good condition, I would say. I guess maybe this one was actually more beat up, but I don't know if it's technically mine. It's technically my mom's, but we'll mention it because I have it down here for me to read. But I would say, and it's not even that beat up, but it's just a little, yeah, this is the, oh shoot, what is this? Gentle Rebel is the 4th book in the House of Winslow series. Oh, there's a hair. Do you see the hair on top? Yeah. Anyways, I buy all of my Gilbert Morris books used pretty much, and so they're all a little bit beat up, but this is not bad at all. And then the book that is technically my mom's, but is down here, is Heidi. Obviously a classic, and it's just, you know, it's old and 96. So my mom has had this since 1996, I'm assuming. So yeah, that's cute. Okay, number 8, Christmas Lights, a book with lots of colors on the cover. I could have honestly chosen a lot of books, but I just chose a few that do have a lot of colors and that I want to talk about. I will say though, possibly the ones with the most colors, hello Mitchell, is my Anne of Green Gables series. I obviously showed you book 1 already, but I'm just going to take this opportunity to showcase these beauties. So maybe these would be the ones with the most color on it. It's so pretty, and these books smell so good. I know that's a weird thing to say about books, but so yes, I would say maybe those are technically my most colorful or have the most colors, but I wanted to show some other books. So I chose Hearts of Fire by The Voice of the Martyrs. I really enjoyed this. It's 8 stories, 8 women in the underground church and their stories of costly faith. And I really enjoyed this, and I think the cover is super pretty with all of the colors on it. And then a book that I haven't read yet, but if you watched my last video, you would see it's on my December TBR. I don't know if this technically is a lot of colors, but it kind of is. Love and a Little White Lie. I just now noticed that there's orangish pink down here besides all of the other colors, so we're gonna count this one too. I'm super excited about this one, so yes. Number 9, Ice Skating, a book with the plot that is all over the place. I chose one I read this month, actually, Sound the Trumpet by Gilbert Morris. I really liked this book. But it's following kind of 2 main characters. It's following a lot of characters, but the 2 main ones, and it does jump back and forth, and the plot is, I'd say there's a lot of plot, and so, but I still really enjoyed it, and I'll talk about it more in my wrap-up. And then another one, I don't know, I'm trying to remember all of it, but I feel like this is one of those historical fictions that are kind of jumpy, but not in a bad way. And it also goes between several characters, and that's All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony. Is it Doerr? Probably not. I don't actually know. I should really look up names of authors usually. But anyways, I just kind of remember it being a little bit everywhere, but not in a bad way. I still really enjoyed it. And I love this cover so much. Yes. Okay, number 10, Christmas Tree. Favorite character of all time. And I feel like that is the worst question to ask. So these books that I'm about to talk about, yes, there are a few. These have some of my favorite characters. Wait, I forgot one. Give me a minute. Yeah, so basically these are just a few books that have characters that are some of my favorites and that I actually absolutely love. The first one, Lady Jane Disappears. I've read 2 Joanna Davidson Politano books, and her characters just somehow get into my heart, and I love the characters. And Silas Rotherham in here. Oh my goodness. And also Orally, like these characters, I just loved them so much, and I highly recommend this. Now I want to reread it. And then also, do I need to say it again? Dream of Life. This is by Michael Phillips, the second book in the American Dream series. Just love these characters so much. And yes, I got attached to these characters for sure, which is what you want when you are committing to a 3-book series that is all over 400 pages. So he did this super well. And then this would not be a favorite characters question. Would this be a book tag by Erica Yoder if I didn't have this book in it somehow? I don't really think so. Obviously, The Story People by Heather Kaufman. Ben and Rosemary and the old ladies in this book just make this a good time. Get to my favorites. They've made it to the favorite characters. Like when I think of my favorite characters, they're in this book. So yes. And then obviously Anne and Gilbert. It has to be Anne and Gilbert. One of the most classic couples, most beloved couples. Anne of Green Gables, Anne of the Island specifically, is where their relationship really, I just love it. And I love these characters. So that's my answer for that. All right, the last question is number 11, The Star. A book you look forward to rereading each year. So these books I'm going to talk about, I don't reread them each year. I don't think. Some of them I've only read for the first time in the last year to 2 years, but they're ones that I want to reread and that feel like I could keep rereading. One of those, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Actually, 2 of them I've already talked about. The Story People, obviously I read it probably at least once a year since I've got it. Well, I got it last year. I had read it before. I'd read it twice before, bought it last year, read it again this year, and I plan on reading it next year as well because it's just one of those stories. And then also, just going to talk about the Anne of Green Gables series. I read it for the first time last winter, and I already have read the first 3 books in the series again. So I feel like these are series and books that I'm going to want to reread a lot. And also, A Perilous Proposal by Michael Phillips. This is the Carolina Cousins series. This is book 1. So there's technically 2 series that are the same story. Companion series, I guess. The first series is called the Shenandoah Sisters, and I read those when I was younger, and then I bought them last year and reread them and loved it with this series. So this is the first book in the companion series, I guess is what you would say. And I just loved the series, and I've only read it once technically, at least the second series, but I want to reread it. Wow, yes, these characters as well. Fave characters as well. And then a book I've read twice now, I think, and I haven't read it every year, but it is one that I feel like I'm gonna read many times, and that is The Robe by Michael Douglas. No, not Michael Douglas. I've talked about too many Michael Phillips books in this video. Lloyd C. Douglas, a classic. I just absolutely love this book. It is biblical fiction about Jesus's robe and the story of the people who came in contact with it. I love this book so much. And isn't it gorgeous? Like the gold. I love it. Okay, that concludes this tag. I have decided not to tag anybody because I'm not sure who all has done this. And yeah, feel free to answer the questions to some of these in the comments. Leave your answers below. Let me know if you've read any of these, if you want to read any of these. And yes, I love these books, and I'm glad for the opportunity to talk about them again. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.